Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is many a true nerd, and welcome back to Skies of Arcadia, where last time we began our mission to track down the 6 moon crystals, and immediately Dragma cocking abandoned us, leaving us marooned here in Maramba, and it's not even the first time he's left us marooned this cocking week. And on top of that, yes indeed, the party is most definitely a fair bit weaker now. Dragma was by far the most powerful member of the team, and Fina remains a bit on the underleveled side. So, okay, his absence is most definitely going to be felt. Still on the plus side, as I just, mosey off on my beautiful, beautiful Velociraptor camel, here we flipping go, we've located Maramba's Tavern, and if there's gonna be one place in town where, some passing adventurers might be able to pick up a useful lead, well, it's gonna be here, isn't it? So, in we go to this lovely, lovely tea house or whatever. We've got entertainment, and more importantly, okay, Mr. Barkeep, it's an RPG. Surely, you're going to be the person to point us in the right direction, and Hail Sailor, you wish to see the new dancer too. Bellina's Dancing is Maramba's newest star attraction. You definitely don't want to leave without seeing her. So, okay. The bartender isn't found too distracted by the new dancer to actually give me any advice. So, I mean, fair enough, I've been pointed in that direction. Hopefully nobody minds if I just go up onto the stage and speak to her. And hello, handsome, I don't think I've seen you round here before. If you've come to rest your weary feet, you've come to the right place. Make yourself comfortable and stay a while. And yes, indeed, at this point I can say that sounds like a great idea, or alternatively, I'm kind of a bit busy right now, and even if, you do try and say, actually kind of in a rush, trying to save the world from, Valor getting hold of giant monstrosities, etc., etc., handsome, here in the desert, we say that you should always drink water whenever you can. It's important to rest now and then when you're travelling. Come on, stop rushing around, and sit down. So, yes indeed, you don't really get to say she is apparently very persuasive. And instead, straight away, we decide to, have a nice sit down, have a lovely cup of, I don't know, tea or something. Some delicious stew in the centre, appears to be some fish in that bowl there. You know what, that looks like a nice meal to me. Still, Ica seems to have the right idea. We definitely shouldn't be resting too long because we've got to find a ship. I wonder where we can find one. Maybe we should try at the docks. And unfortunately, yes indeed, Vice's attention may just be ever so slightly elsewhere at the moment. I can't believe Captain Dragma just left us here. I'm sure he had his reasons to leave, but I wish he'd said something sooner. He didn't have to leave us stranded in the desert. And once again, Vice appears to be not really engaging in this particular conversation because, yes indeed, Vice is just staring at the dancer. Dear oh flippin' dear. And Ica is not cocking happy about that. Hey. Vice, have you heard a single word I've said? And yes, I'm listening. You were talking about the desert. Oh, Vice, be honest, you were not paying attention, dear oh flipping dear. You're acting like you've never seen a girl before. If you could pry your eyes away from that dancer for just a few seconds, okay, I'll stop staring. I've no idea what you're talking about. Okay, Vice, you've been caught. You're not getting away with this. Just admit it and then stop. And okay, it's just that she's such a good dancer. I didn't want to insult her by looking away. New lands, new customs, And Vice, that's a pretty bloody flimsy excuse. What kind of excuse is that? You're undressing her with your eyes. Not that it would take that long. You weren't zooming in, were you? Just indeed. Don't forget, Vice can zoom in with his eye patch, but hopefully on this occasion he wasn't, because that would be weird, Vice. And I'm sorry, but seriously, do you think she's looked over here more than just a few times? I think she likes me. And alright, there may have just been a wink there, but Ica does not believe it. Fina, will you try and talk some sense into him? And do you really find it that hard to believe? After all, Vice is very attractive. I don't think it would be strange at all if that dancer was looking at him. And you're kidding, right? Vice wouldn't want someone like her. I mean, who knows where she's been? Ica! That is blimey! Okay, Ica, turn it down a few notches. Bloody hell! And yes, indeed, it turns out in traditional comedy style, she was standing right behind you, Ica. And in fact, it turns out that yes, Vice may have been right. The dancers come over. Tell me something. You wouldn't happen to be a group of air pirates that escaped from the Grand Fortress now, would you? And yes, indeed. How on earth did you know that? And well, if you hang out in places like this, you overhear all kinds of things. Rumours, local gossip, news about the other lands. Alright, she's now sitting down to join us. Ica is not looking, necessarily delighted about this, but more importantly, you even hear stories about air pirates in need of a ship. If you want, I could give you a lift. What do you say? And really, thank you, that would help us out an awful lot. And wait a second, why would you help us? You don't even know who we are. Ica is still not delighted about this, but let's just say that to anyone who escapes from the Grand Fortress might just interest me. Oh, Ica is not delighted about this at all. My name is Belina, and I'll begin making preparations. Meet me at the port first thing tomorrow morning. I'll see you around, handsome. And we even get a bit of a kiss. Magnificent. So, right, straight away, we've managed to get ourselves a lift. Beautiful. So, just back to the start of the town and nip to the inn on the left here. And yes, indeed, let's just get the party up to absolute tip-top shape before we set out into the desert. But meanwhile, while we're just, having a nice quick nap, it turns out Dragma is off doing his own thing too. Obviously, not really saying much given he's now got no crew whatsoever, and maybe, just maybe, he feels a bit bad about what he's just done. Should I have left those kids there? Bah, what am I worrying about? Someone else will take care of them. You're right, someone much sexier than you, Dragma. However, while he's out, just sailing about and whatnot, he suddenly spots something in the distance. Another ship just the other side of the Great Rock Reef. So, okay. Doesn't mean much to us right now, but maybe just, keep it in mind. Dragma, at least, might just recognize the ship, but he's not saying any more for the minute. And as for us, the following morning, let's just, nip down to the port, because there we go. This lovely ship right here turns out to belong to Belina. Oh, but far more importantly, before we speak to her, okay. I'm really glad, by the way, I just, nosed inside the Sailors Guild right here, because, okay, a very special person has just shown up here. This lovely chappy here is the mystery merchant, and he really does rather live up to his name. He doesn't appear in any one spot at any one time. If you were really paying close attention, you may have noticed he was at the hotel at Sailor's Island the first time we passed by, but then the next time we passed by, he'd gone. And you know what? That's just the nature of the mystery merchant. He appears, he disappears, but when he does appear, oh flip me, you want to check in with him. Okay, the thermo ring. 2,000 gold, very expensive, but increases resistance to red and purple attacks, and this is a huge amount of resistance right here. Like, you will take vastly reduced damage against any form of a red or purple magic. Like, this is worth getting. And on top of that, Slayer Ring giving a bit of defense, a bit of will, a bit of quick, a bit of chance to hit. Honestly, that feels like, for only £1,000, a very good candidate to be given to Ica. She's only losing a tiny amount of will, given it does give some will anyway. And on top of that, it increases her chance to hit, her quick, which is kind of her thing anyway. So, oh yeah, excellent candidate for her. Though, the real star is a Crystales box. Because this here is not, a basic Crystali. This is the next spell up. In a box for only 800 gold. So, okay, I'm just buying 3 of those right now. Because that there is amazing. Not least as we're literally about to head into the fire dungeon. And ice works really well against a fire. And speaking of the fire dungeon, okay, I'm not going to set it on anyone just yet, but 100%, I'm buying a thermo ring right now. We're just kind of, keep it for the time being. There's one more box too for Selenis, which is like, the silencing spell, but that one's not so interesting. We'll leave it be, but oh, I'm so glad we ran into you before we set out today. Right, let's just mosey over here and say hi to Belina. So good morning, I trust you've slept well, and it was the best night's sleep I've had in a long time, so I guess we should get ready and start exploring the desert. And only those who have walked through the desert can truly know its size. That's a saying we have here in Nazra. It's too difficult to cross the desert on foot because of the heat. A mere half-day's walk can be deadly. You need a ship to cross it. So alright, fortunately, looks like you've got one right here. And yes indeed, it's not much, but it's a very reliable. And oh dear, Ica is still in a bit of a grump. And Belina, why are you going out of your way to give us a ride? You don't even know us.
Well.
And you aren't very grateful, are you? If you were dying of thirst and someone offered you water, you'd probably ask where it came from first. Okay, so Belina and Ica, just not getting on particularly well, it would appear. And alright, if you must know, then I'll tell you. My father was a soldier, he was a poor man, and sometimes a bit short-tempered, but he was a good man, and a good father. We struggled to get by, and my father was barely able to support us. We had nothing to rely on but each other, but we were happy. Until that day, 20 years ago. 20 years ago, Valor and Nazra declared war on each other, and my father was killed in battle. When he died, we had nothing. No food and no one to support us, nobody to raise us. We had to live on the streets. Some say that you can't die from a broken heart, but they're wrong. My mother died shortly after my father. She was so sad. I was alone and scared. I had to fend for myself on the streets, and that's how I ended up living like this. Oh, Belina, we're so sorry we had no idea. So ever since then, I've hated war. Hundreds of people die, hundreds more families have to go through what I went through. And that is why I'm letting you know. I want you to use my ship. Please. And yes, indeed, we'll do it, Belina. Belina, I'm sorry for what I said earlier. I shouldn't have spoken to you that way. Damn right, Ica, you should be apologising. That was really cooking out of line. But alright, she's recognised it's wrong. She's said sorry. I lost my parents when I was young too. I know what you went through. And that's quite alright, as long as you understand and don't take my generosity for granted. Okay, everything's been put to rights, so everyone on board, the temple lies far to the east in the middle of the desert. Let's go. Still, that's not to say you can't go, you know, discovery hunting in this bit of the world, because, yes indeed, Topple Rock, which we know our rival Domingo, was hunting just around the area near Maramba, so right on the same island, you've got Topple Rock right here. A natural formation of 3 round rocks stacked on top of each other and perfectly balanced. The balance seems delicate, especially when the rocks sway in the wind, but for some reason, they have never toppled. So, yes indeed, just a fun little formation there, and okay, let's take a step forward. We're going to be running into, yes, some more creatures, that's absolutely fine. And obviously, yeah, the ship we're in right now is tiny, and thus so is the battlefield. Still, as we just toss some abilities out and finish off these handful of bugs and whatnot, there is something rather useful about doing a tiny bit of fighting right here in the skies around Maramba. Which is, you may notice, well, one, we're getting experience, but arguably more importantly, magic experience just went up from, yes, 1 to 2. As you reach higher and higher level areas, you're not just earning more experience, you're also earning more magic experience. So it's way quicker to level up spells in slightly higher level areas. And yes, as I was saying just a second ago, you can also find a few more bits and pieces. So a lovely, sexy, wandering, floating oasis, for example. Hardly that difficult to locate, but there we flipping go. Kinda wish we could, like, you know, visit the wandering lake. Like, you know, a flying beach above a desert sounds like an awesome place to visit, but you're not allowed to actually go and, you know, chill out on it or anything. So, yes indeed, temperature differences make a large bowl of rock float above the desert, holding a lake of clear water. Once the water cools down, it settles downwards again. So, does that make sense physically? Probably not, but okay, like most things in this game, when in doubt, the moon did it. So yes, if you needed, like, you know, a little injection of cash to fund equipment from the shop or whatnot, a couple of easy discoveries in the desert would definitely be a good way of doing it. But for the time being, yes, just keep on sailing to the east because the temple in question is very nearby indeed. Though, if we're lucky, we might just be able to push Fina up to, yes, level 9 before we get there. There we go, spot on. Still just a mosey forward, and in just a flipping second, we will find there we go, the Temple of Pyrin, magnificent, a gigantic pyramid out at the far end of the desert, and it's also, a discovery, as well as our first crystal temple. A stone building thought to have been created by an ancient dynasty. The stonework and construction demonstrate a high level of technology for that period, but no clues are left that point to the purpose behind these huge creations. So, alright, I may as well mosey down onto the ground here, because, yes indeed, as is often the case in Skies of Arcadia, it's a lot bigger than it looks from the sky. In fact, yeah, this pyramid is supposed to be absolutely cocking massive. Wow. So this is the Temple of Pyrin. It's huge. I can't believe it. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And the people of the old world were able to build this thing in this heat, and it's built on sand too. It's incredible. And deep within this temple lies the red crystal. Be careful though, according to Sylphide lore, it's guarded by hordes of creatures, and she's not kidding. We've got a bit of a fight on our hands to get to it. And yes indeed, while we're doing this, Belina, what's your plan precisely? And I'll be waiting out here, and besides I won't be able to help you fight off monsters, not in this outfit. And it might be a little rough in there for a beautiful woman like yourself, and oh Vice. That was not the right thing to say. And what about me and Fina? We're women too, just what are you trying to say? Come on, Fina, let's leave Vice behind and get the crystal ourselves. So, okay, Vice, the king of putting his foot in his mouth, is at it once again. And speaking of which, yes indeed, Ika suddenly turns to Belina, and I'm sure a beautiful woman like yourself has got a much better guy than Mr. Foot in his mouth, and actually, there's no one special in my life right now. There is someone I'm in love with, but he would never even give me a second look. And alright, we're not 100% sure what she's talking about yet, but maybe we'll get to that later. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that right now. You should probably get going. I'll be waiting here, just, be careful, alright? And seriously, this ruin is just a delightfully gigantic. I cocking love it. So, just passing by a rather strange little altar and whatnot. I wonder what this pedestal's for. It's got a strange indentation on the surface. So alright, we'll come back to that later. Just, pass all these pillars underneath all of this. And then we need to, literally climb up to the top of this here gigantic pyramid. Which is just delightful, though. Thankfully, the game lets you, skip a fair few of the steps. Also, if you pay attention, you might notice, yes, on the left there, that's going to be the Skyrim door we're using later to leave once we're done. But, yes, unfortunately, there's a giant statue in the way. We can't get in there just yet. So, right. In which case, straight in the front door, it's time to take on our very first crystal temple. And, yes, indeed, this to my mind is where the game's dungeons start getting a bit more interesting. Like, the Sewers Under Valor, that was just an endurance event, really. But now, yes, every single major dungeon at this point has got its own thing going on. So, just a mosey straight on down, because yes, indeed, we do have a fair bit of ground to cover, and straight away, you'll probably notice, yes, there's, little roly McJibbles that we can take to move around, and in many cases, this is going to be the only way we can move from point A to point B. So we could just keep going right now, but don't do that, because, yes, indeed, if we take this one back in this direction, that's going to open up a brand new side room over here, and oh yeah, the crystal temples, you are most definitely going to be wanting to be doing some looting, though be aware, if you crack open an ancient sarcophagus, etc, you are going to upset the locals, like, they are going to try and defend their treasure. But, bare minimum, okay, we're inside the fire temple right now. And obviously that means a very large number of our enemies are going to be the fire type, and that's what makes this a very good temple to be the first one, because you may recall I said many parts ago, not all elemental alignments are created equal. Like, some of them are just 10% this way or that, but no, fire and ice are violently opposed to each other. So, if you've got ice weapons, you're doing like a 40% bonus damage to fire creatures, and curiously, the opposite is also true. Like, if these were ice creatures, and I was using fire weapons, that would be 40% bonus, though don't worry about, your own resistances. It doesn't matter what element your weapon's set to, you are always like a neutral element. No enemy does more or less damage to you unless you're using, accessories like the thermo ring in order to boost your resistances. And turning our attention to Fina, oh yeah. This is why I bought several Crystales boxes, because Fina is getting strong, and Crystales is a strong spell, and against the Magmatiki, it's going to do an extra 40% damage. So here we go, just a tiny bit of damage there. Ika just comes in with a basic attack too. That's enough to take out one of them. And then over to Fina, who's going to crack out the Crystales box, and 431 damage. Oh yeah, that's why we bought these, that's why we wanted to use these, and okay, that one just used Tremble. Which is a little bit concerning, I will admit, so how about we just get in and hit this with Cutlass Fury. You just guard, just in case it gets the first attack in, it does not, so that's absolutely fine. Get in over there, and Cutlass Fury does 500 damage. The box is doing nearly as much as a Cutlass Fury. That is ridiculous, and I love it. And, okay, these enemies are a bit tougher, so as a result of that, yeah, we're going to be leveling up Fina pretty fast. And on top of that, we just got a Pyrin box. Brilliant. And with them dead, we can also loot the tomb for 500 gold. Better and cocky, better. So, yes indeed, we've got these lovely little rolling McGibbles, and they're going to be creating a handful of puzzles that we're going to need to solve over the course of our time in the temple. It's just, keep on keeping on, and mosey on down to the next room. Yes, and on the way past, do not forget, hang about here. I see you, Mr. Moonfish, but looks like we can't get to you just yet. We may have to, yes, nip back over to you later. But yes, watch out for Moonfish and, yeah, Chams for Cupil while you're in dungeons too. Oh yeah, there's a path there. That's going to be a tiny bit closer to that guy. So yeah, just listen out for the McGibble later. We're going to be, kind of looping back on ourselves over the course of this here dungeon. Instead, for the time being, yeah, just leave him behind, go right down to the bottom, and yes, if we're lucky, this might be another cocking level for Fina. Though, yeah, in this temple, we've got ourselves, okay. We've got ourselves a Death's Head, because, seriously, these bugs need to be taken care of, they keep kidnapping random people from every society. And on top of that, Lupalons. Okay, so these are the next level up of Lupa. They share the same characteristics as their friends elsewhere, which is they're very cocking and hard to hit, their dodge is ridiculous, their magic resistance is through the roof, though it's possible Crystales might be powerful enough it could take them out anyway. What's more concerning is they're probably going to be spamming, fire magic at me, so I'm going to say for safety, I'm just going to Delta Shield during this fight, okay? Meanwhile, yeah. We're just going to focus on you. You're the bigger concern, so yeah, just do one Delta Shield. And honestly, Fina, you can just keep using the Crystales box, though. Bloody hell, that was bad luck. Right, you may notice that, yes, when we bought the box, it said 7 or 8 uses. It doesn't actually mean 7 or 8 uses. What it means is, when you use it, there is a percentage chance it's going to cease to exist. And I'm pretty sure the first one just died straight away after one use, and that is really cocking bad luck. Still, focus on, yeah, the Death's Head McGibble. You're just going to protect us, so at this point, basically, yeah, the Lupa guys can't really do anything. They're just going to try and run anyway, but one of them might try and use, yeah, Pyrin, or something very powerful. Instead, for the time being, yeah, we're just going in. Okay, they're all running, that Delta Shield was completely not necessary. Instead, we are using Stone Breath right there, which I'm guessing might be able to petrify, but on this occasion did not. Marvellous. So, right, in which case, you just need to go down. Lovely, and, okay. Looks to me like, yeah, your physical resistance was much, much stronger than your magic resistance. Got it. Good thing to learn. Oh, and obviously it wouldn't be, a Doom Temple if there wasn't at least one corridor with a giant rolling balls. Just wait for a giant rolling ball, and then take a step off to one side while that's passing by. So, yes indeed, some fun traps to deal with, but one of the little cubbies is in fact an entire side room. Make sure you don't miss that. As I say, the temples are a big step up from any dungeon we've seen before. There's proper, like, you know, side rooms, secrets, alternative ways to get about, etc, etc. And here we go, another few locals finished off, and Fina is, catching up fast at this point. So, there we go. Another 5 to will, but her vigor goes up so slowly. Like, Fina's basic physical defenses are very, very poor indeed. Still, keep on keeping on, I believe. Hang about here. We've got ourselves, yes, one lovely moonfish, and also, I'm increasingly suspicious I might be going, like, you know, the correct way by mistake. And that possibly going to the bottom was the wrong way. I'm trying to remember now, but I'm worried that might be true. Oh no, never mind. This is definitely, like, you know, a tiny side treasure room. It's all fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, and here's fun, by the way. We've got an ambush fight against, yes, a giant handful of Lupalons, and Loopers just give you so much experience. It's ridiculous. So, okay, what we're going to do is just to focus all our firepower on these here Loopers, and see if maybe we get lucky and get a kill with our free attack, because, gosh darn it, Ica, you are my best bet, because your accuracy is really, really good, and this is why you just don't bother attacking Loopers. But Loopers may have, you know, excellent magic resistance, but they've got terrible physical resistance, and you literally can't dodge a special move. So we're going to keep on, you know, trying, etc, etc, just see what we can get done here. But if we're lucky, yet another cocking miss. Dear oh flippin' dear. No, don't run away. Thys, get an attack in before they all cocking. Never mind. Loopers are just a bloody weird. But I think if we're lucky, we got one of them down. Brilliant. The reason you want to do that, by the way, is, yes, Loopers don't just give you tons of experience and tons of, you know, all that jazz. Loopers also give you some really, really fascinating drops if you get lucky. Still, a handful more taking out the locals, and yes, this diversion was definitely worth it because we've just picked up an ancient rope. Fascinatingly, yes, despite being marked as belonging to an ancient wizard, it doesn't actually boost will at all, so, okay, we'll give that over to Ica just to bolster her defences a bit. And just to confirm, yes, at level 10, Fina is now objectively our most powerful spellcaster. Anyway, back to, yes, the Doom Corridor. Just let another giant McGibble go past to make sure we get out of the way, so that just falls into the pit down there, and here we flipping go. We've now got ourselves, yes, another big room to figure out. And on this occasion, yes, the camera's going to move into a better position because it's a very nice simple puzzle to kick us off. Plain and simple, you've got to fill all the holes. So naturally, given, yes, the two on the side can only go into the ones in front of them, you've just got to do those first. Nothing too complicated for now. So alright, number 2 just get shoved into here, no problemo whatsoever. Back round to you, buddy, and then just ride him over the top because, yeah, these things can't be turned, they can only roll the direction they're already orientated. So, pop you down there, mag-flippin-nificent, and the door opens to move us forwards. Bringing us down below into, yes, a very similar puzzle, but obviously they're going to get, you know, a tiny bit more complicated as time goes by. You've just got to make sure you're doing these in the right order. So, for example, yes, here we go. Red as a good step 1 over here would do fine, so that you can get in over there. That's lovely. Just a loop around and then, yeah, actually, you know what? Blue, while I'm standing right here, that would be a perfectly acceptable spot as well. And then, yeah, those two on the side can both go into their slots. So, not just positioning, also colours need to start being factored into the equation. So, alright, you go in there, and then your friend just needs to join you, and that should be a-okay. I've got a bad feeling about this next corridor, but, right, I feel like the ball's going to drop after we've already gone past it, but that's absolutely fine. At number 1, there's definitely, there we go, a cham in here. Just make sure there's nothing else here, then check the other direction for, there we flipping go. Okay, this time I've got a feeling it might actually be this way, just, you know, be ready. And and then as soon as the ball goes past, down to the bottom to check for, like, you know, a treasure or whatnot, because... okay, never mind, there was in fact a door right here. Hang on, we'll go back and do the side area. My brain's lying to me. I say we'll do the side area. That might be a bit on the tricky side, given it's basically, yes, running up a slope against a ball. But the ball seems to have, you know, naffed off at this point, so good. Good. Just one more treasure chest to go. It's the same Guardians every time, by the way. Every time you take on a treasure chest, it's always, yes, a trio of magma tikis. So, for me, yeah, Vise and Ica basic attacks together. That deals with one. And then Fina just goes over to the Crystales box to take out one of the others. So, thanks for that, yeah, they could concentrate all their fire on the third one next round, go down nice and easy in one round before they could get nasty, because these guys don't do much unless they do their Tremble. After Tremble, they could do, I think it's called Eruption, and then, yes, lava goes everywhere, everyone dies, don't let it happen. Still, this looting has been getting me, yes, a giant pile of various bits and pieces, so... okay, we're up to Moonberry 6. How about a new ability for Ica? Because her next ability is rather bloody useful. Because Ica's all about crowd control. She's very good at dealing with a large number of weak enemies. So, yes indeed, causing the ground to explode around her, damaging all enemies on screen. Basically, it's a fire spell, but for free, in terms of, like, you know, magic points. So, go on then, why not? Lambda Burst is pretty bloody nice, actually, and honestly, I'd be willing to skip straight up to her next ability too, given that only costs 2, because, yeah, this next one's rather interesting. A mirror that envelops Ica for 1 turn, which basically does nothing aside from, you know, looking interesting, but more importantly, it restores 10 magic points, meaning, functionally, Ica could just keep casting forever. Like, once you've got this going, Ica, though she's not our most powerful spellcaster, can definitely be our most regular one, because you don't need to worry about ever running out of magic points. And even better, we picked up, yes, a lovely dancing arc for her, so basically a more powerful boomerang, magnificent, and yes, like many of Ica's weapons, it's got a very good hit chance. Like, Ica may not hit the hardest, but accuracy, yeah, if you need to hit something for certain, she's good at that. Her new ability, by the way, is so useful because, functionally, it also turns her into an infinite healing machine because, don't forget, you could do healing magic out in the field. So she can just use that on herself, etc, etc. So, everyone's now up to, you know, max health. And that just cost me magic points. Magic points that she can now get back with Spirit that just comes for free during every fight, so... yeah, Epsilon Mirror is an underrated ability, and, oh, by the way, yes, we've reached, you know, pretty much the bottom of the temple, as you may have guessed, by the gigantic river of lava that's now beneath us, because, oh, this game does look nice on occasion. Oh, and naturally, it's got its own, you know, dedicated battle map too, because why wouldn't it? So, okay, we're getting deeper, so now new creatures are showing up as we get close by to the lava. So, I honestly can't remember what your deal is, but I'm gonna work under the assumption it's, you know, breathing fire on me and whatnot. And just ignore the looper. The looper will probably leave by itself, it's fine. But yes, indeed, like we were saying, basically Ica could just start spamming spells at this point, because why shouldn't she? So here we go, just toss a Crystales at those lovely guys, and yeah. Thanks to the ridiculous level of weakness between fire and ice. Oh yeah. Just spells we're tossing are from Ica, from Fina. This should be very easily taking out these bastards. And the looper naffs off too, because why wouldn't it? And Vise even gets a crit, and even with a crit, he's doing like barely any more damage than Crystales is. Like, yeah, once magic gets going, oh, it's nice. It's very, very nice indeed. Yes, and before I forget, Ica's new abilities. So, okay, Lambda Burst hits everyone on the field, very uncomplicated though. I don't want to use it right now because, like all of Ica's abilities, it is color-coded red or fire, no matter what element your weapon's set to, which does rather curiously imply that Ica might originally be from Nazra or thereabouts, because people's magical aptitude does line up with where they're from. Like, all of Fina's spells are aligned to silver, because she's a Sylvite, so... no one ever says this, but I'm going to work under the assumption Ica or her parents might originally have been from Nazra or thereabouts. And yes indeed, let's just, you know, try out that Epsilon Mirror just to top up her lovely, lovely magic points.
Moon's protect!
She sounds so happy about it too, so yes indeed, she's just, suddenly surrounded by pentagons, and is like, shiny and glowy and whatnot. I'm not sure it actually does anything. She's just a bit fancy this turn. It goes back to normal next turn, I believe. But, yes, for some reason, she's just fancy and glowy for a little bit. It all looks very lovely. And, yeah, she's now got her magic points back. And there we go. Back to 10 out of 10. Magnificent. Oh, and even better, when you're down at the bottom of the lava room, there's just like, blobs of lava dancing overhead. They don't, like, do anything. This entire room doesn't do anything. It's just... this game has got an incredible sense of style, so, okay, we have successfully crossed the lava river, etc, etc, let's be on our way. Because we're almost cocking through, that over there is obviously going to be the boss door, because there's a save point right before it, so, alright, not much we can do here, aside from pushing a mysterious switch. So, alright, give that a go, and it's not just, a fire and lava in it here instead, it's also water. So, alright, we can pour water into this room, which just comes in and then drains straight away. Marvellous. Right now, however, that doesn't really do much. So, right, just, keep on keeping on and moseying around the edge of this very large room indeed, because, yes indeed, you may have already figured out the trick we're getting to eventually. Lava plus water might just equal some lovely, lovely rock we can use. But, before we get to that, do not neglect this chest at the end here, because this chest is a bit special. Unlike every other chest in this here area, it is not guarded by a handful of, tiny tikis or whatnot. Instead, this one's guarded by Zivelin Bane, a treasure hunter who's trying to get hold of, elite super mega treasures in every major dungeon. Meaning, yes, generally, a secret chest hidden somewhere in each dungeon will generate him, as opposed to, the local guardians. And he's a bit tougher. Like, maybe something of a sub-boss in a way. Now, I will admit, this first one is not particularly well hidden, but later in the game, yeah, it can be very easy to miss the Zivelin Bane chest, though you don't want to, because whatever Zivelin Bane is guarding, it's much better than the other chests. So, okay. On this occasion, nothing too complicated. He's color-coded red, so how about we stick to what's been working really well? Vise goes in for a regular attack. And then, yes, now that we're up to a beautiful, sexy 5 spirit, we just toss a double Crystales at him. That there should work pretty well. So, alright, Vise goes in first, straight away 200 damage, so yeah, you can see here, the lad's got a fair whack of health on him. And on top of that, he's got, a few other tricks up his sleeve. It's just, getting over there and, oh yeah, look at the power of Crystales. Absolutely bloody magnificent. So, keep on keeping on, this should do even more. Oh yeah, 370. Another round of that, he's in trouble. Goes for Fina, doesn't do that much actually, and I think, yeah, we're going to be lucky on this occasion. Unless he gets to go, earlier in the turn order next time, we should just be able to finish him off before anything too bad happens, because he's already in a lot of trouble, just, yeah. Concentrating purple magic on him, he is going to melt. Still, he's not going to beat Ica. Alright, Ica's going to get in before him, so Vise also gets an attack in. Probably not Fina, by the way, because yes, Fina is very slow. There we go. Zivelin Bane goes down pretty nice and easy on this occasion, but he's not dead. We're going to be seeing him again. And there we go, one more seed for our collection. And a rune of ill omen. So on this occasion, just a very valuable item we can sell down the line. The seed, meanwhile, boosts a character's will permanently by 3, and, okay, honestly, I think we know where this is going. Fina, congratulations, you get to have the first seed of the game, and, on top of that, we should definitely be feeding up Cupel a bit, and there we flipping go. Cupel evolves into Cupel Blade, meaning now when he attacks, he's going to take a different form. And honestly, yeah, the seed we picked up earlier, that also boosts maximum hit points. I feel like that should go to Fina too, because Fina does struggle with, survivability a bit. Right, that done, just turn our attention down in this direction for a second, because, would you believe it, yes, we've got one final puzzle to solve to release the lava flow. So, step 1, focus on, the ones where there is only one viable solution. So just, mosey around to the one on the top left over here, because we know that can't go anywhere but the one in front of him. So we may as well start with you, buddy. Shove you in there, magnificent. And on top of that, yes, that causes different ones to rise up and go down. So, okay. Next up, there is, you here have got to go there. But also, while this is down, you here being the next move would make sense. Because you can be done at any time you want to. So that all of a sudden it goes there. Beautiful. So, okay, we've got to... Hang on, we may have got this a bit on the wrong side. No, we haven't. I see what the trick is, so okay. Just to put you in right here. That will make everything rise up. Meaning, yes, this blue one can be next, because it can now go over the top of the red one. That will cause the red one to go down, and then a red will come in last, and no trouble whatsoever. Okay, thought I'd fluff that there, but no, we got there in the end, damn it. So, okay, just ride you in there, and all of a sudden... Yes, that causes the overflow of the lava. Lava now flows down to the bottom chamber, and yes, indeed, that button that activates the water. That's what we want to turn our attention to now. Though I'm also hearing, yes, a bit of jingling. Where's the moonfish? There's a moonfish somewhere around here. Okay, he's right above the lava at the bottom, so I think possibly, yes, the best option is just a loop around and, use the water to chill out the lava. And then, once that's done, we should be able to grab that on the way into the final boss. So here we go, just hit the button again, and on this occasion, yes, in a giant cloud of steam, we have now frozen or, cooled the magma or whatever. Now... we can just walk straight over it. Just take a moment to, yes, make sure we capture the... hang on, I literally can't get the right angle here. There we go. Last moonfish of this dungeon. Beautiful. And, would you believe, with a save point here, it's boss time. Right, everyone's got plenty of magic points. Advise you may as well just use up your mostly useless magic points, getting everyone into tip-top shape. And, yes indeed, enter the dungeon. We are now at, level 16, 16, and 13. So Fina has caught up nicely, and in terms of will, is now looking very strong indeed. And thus, in we go to, yes indeed, a mysterious room with nothing in it, but what would appear to be some form of... lava vortex, which I'm sure is not something we need to worry about in the slightest. Let's just, run up to it. And, okay. Unfortunately, it turns out we should have been worried about it. Say hello to the boss of the Fire Temple. It's Rockworm. Oh, you've got to love Rockworm. So, as you probably expect, he is indeed color-coded red. So, okay. For the time being, our basic strategy that we've been using so far is probably going to work pretty well on him as a starting point. Vise, you just open up on him. Everyone else, just start dumping Crystallis on him. That's never going to be a bad starting point, though it is going to be eating into our special a lot. So, obviously, Ica gets to go first. How much are we going to do to you? Because, basically, this temple kind of exists. Blimey, that was a spike right through the head. Dear oh flippin' dear. This temple kind of exists just to make sure you understand elemental alignment. Because if you get fire versus ice and are using nothing but ice in this temple, blimey, you're going to be doing well. Though, okay, don't underestimate him. He just did a lot of damage to Vise between, yes, an attack and a counter. But I do enjoy just putting, yes, a lovely spike straight through his head. That's delightful. So, okay. Keep on keeping on. Vise is, in a good enough shape for the time being, though, if he does do a counter-attack and a special attack. Just for safety, I'm going to drop a tiny bit of healing on Vise. Not much, just a little bit, just to keep him going. But Fina, honestly, should just be using magic non-stop. There's no reason for Fina to ever stop using magic. Okay, Vise feels a bit better, does a bit of damage, does not get counter-attacked. But here comes a volcanic blast, because obviously, yes, there are some powerful abilities, so okay. Fina does struggle with area effects because, you know, she's not got much health or indeed much defense, meaning she gets hit hard. Everyone else should be able to take it for the most part, and what I'm going to say is, yeah, Vice, you go in with Cutlass Fury. Okay, you could take one more hit, so in which case, yeah, just drop a Sacres on Fina just to make sure she's okay. And Fina herself, should she guard? Just for safety, I'm going to guard. So, alright, Vice goes in for the Cutlass Fury. Just starts, you know, beating up a giant lava worm by battering it with a sword because he's just that much of a badass. And, yes indeed, just bear in mind, any weapon that wasn't purple, any magic that wasn't purple, I was right to guard. Good, 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 good. So, never mind. Okay, Fina's not dead, but Cinderstorm has left her petrified. So, right, for the time being, she's out of play. Alright, good, 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 good. Meaning we're also probably not gaining her special or whatnot. I can't recall if that's how that works. Okay, Vice, you go in for another Cutlass Fury. And Ica, this here is what you're for. So yeah, Curia Crystal can sort that out. Get Fina back up on her feet, please. Or rather, like, you know, moving, given she's currently literally petrified. There we go, she's feeling much, much better. So, Cinderstorm doesn't do much damage, but it does, yes, turn you to stone. And speaking of which, I feel like Vice might be about to be petrified too. No, he got lucky on the roll there. It must be a chance to effect, but I don't know precisely what the percentage is. So, alright, with my team back up and about, we should now be in very good shape, I'd say. In fact, oh, buddy, you're in a lot of cocked trouble. So, in which case, yeah, just go for a normal attack. And honestly, Ica, I feel like you can probably get this with the Crystallis at this point. Fina, you may as well guard her. There's not much you need to do. So, there we go. I could definitely get the attack in before he gets to attack again. And with a final spike in his head, Rockworm goes down. Alright, nice and smooth. This was like, you know, our first Temple Guardian. Lovely. Still, that's worth a good 1,000 experience if we're lucky. Oh my goodness, everyone gets a level up. Better and better. So, okay. Everything moving in the right direction. There be flipping beautiful. Tons of, yes, magic experience too. So Panica, Fina can start confusing opponents. And a Rizzalan box. I mean, bloody hell. A box that can restore people from unconscious. That's bloody powerful. I love it. So, there we go. And on top of that, Rockworm doesn't just disappear, he becomes a bridge that you walk over to get to the other side of his lair. Seriously, this game had cocking style. And here we flipping go. For the first time, we get to lay our eyes on a moon crystal. And yes, there's no way you could confuse this for a regular moonstone. They are beautiful and shiny and I love them. And I do enjoy that they get their, you know, special gigantic throne room that they just sit in or whatnot. It's delightful. So, there we go. 1 down, 5 to go. And yes, indeed, this is a moon crystal. It's so beautiful, I'm getting weak in the knees just looking at it. And a moon crystal is the most concentrated source of energy that you'll ever see. It was first created by distilling a moonstone into its purest form. Moon crystals are pure energy. This crystal alone has the power of thousands, no tens of thousands, of moonstones. And even though thousands of years have passed since the destruction of the old world, the crystal still shines as bright as ever. Between the power of these crystals and the destructive force of the Gigas, it's easy to see how so much of the world was destroyed. And it's sad, the people of the old world had so much power, but they used it to make weapons instead of helping each other. And there's no way that we can let Valor get their hands on one of these. Fina, leave it up to us, we'll keep it safe. The Valorans are gonna have to take it off my dead body before I hand it over to them. There's so much of the world I still have to see, I'm not gonna let them wake some ancient guardian to destroy half of it now. And thank you, Vice, I know you'll do your best to keep it safe. And there we flipping go, we have formally received the red moon crystal. And perfect flipping timing, off to one side, we've now got, yes, a side passage that will take us straight back out to the Skyrim door. So just mosey straight back downstairs, and yes indeed, our friend Belina is waiting for us. Magnificent. So sorry that took us a while. That was a much bigger dungeon than, any previous one. So, yes indeed, I hope you weren't worried about us, and I'm just happy you're alright. So, did you find the moon crystal? And yes indeed, we found it, and I knew you could do it. But would it be alright if I was to, just take a quick look at it? And here we flipping go. This is one of the legendary moon crystals. It's more beautiful than I ever imagined. Thank you so much. I'm sure that Lord Galcian will be very pleased indeed. And what? What are you talking about? And yes, how about I just, show you? And with a quick dramatic reveal, yes indeed. It turns out that Belina isn't actually Belina. Instead, she's just going to do a very dramatic quick change in front of us, revealing herself to be Beliza, the Admiral we saw very briefly during the introduction. And, okay, I'm going to be honest with you. Even though her name was Belina, not Beliza, the first time I played this game, I didn't see this coming. Alright, I completely failed to clock Belina was in fact Beliza and whatnot. Completely fooled me, totally took me by surprise. So, if you didn't see it coming, I'd like you to, let me know in the comments just so I don't feel quite so stupid about this so many years on. So yes indeed, this was in fact a cunning ruse by Beliza, the 4th Admiral of the Imperial Armada. And it turns out that yes, when Vice promised that he would never give the crystal to Valois, he kept that promise for, about 45 seconds, give or take. He literally handed it over to the next person he ran into, and that person turned out to be an Admiral of Valois. Good cooking job, Vice! I specialise in covert operations. You don't need to get your hands bloody to win fights. Sometimes a bit of trickery goes a long way. And you tricked us. Yes, indeed you did, though Frida seems more confused than anything else. So everything you said about your parents, about war, about your childhood, was all of that a lie? Did you just say that in order to get us to trust you? And I told you the truth. I never said my father was from Nazra, he was a Valoan soldier, and he did die in battle. Years later, I too became a soldier, and I want to put an end to every war so no one has to go through what I went through. Countries go to war arguing over borders and resources. If the world was united under one rule, there would be no more war. That is why we need the power of the Gigas to make sure no one opposes us. Valois must rule the worlds. And Beliza, don't, please. But unfortunately, it's too late. That mysterious thing that we saw earlier, the pedestal, that is where the red crystal goes. Though, okay, this is a very small thing, and I know this is a dramatic moment in the plot and whatnot, but you probably assumed, so far, in the story, that because everyone was talking about the Gigas and whatnot, therefore, that was the plural, and the singular of Gigas would be Giga. Like, the red Giga. But, no. The game decides that Gigas is both plural and singular, and it's always bugged me, and this is my series, so I'm just going to change it, and basically, yes, whenever it's a singular Giga, I'm just going to say it's a Giga. Okay, so Red Giga Recumen, as bearer of the Red Moon Crystal, I command you to awaken and do my bidding. And with an ominous rumble, we all step back, and this is one of my favourite reveals in the entire game. This is lovely. It turns out that yes indeed, what we were looking at earlier was maybe not what we thought it was. Instead, as Beliza just, disappears off into the distance and the crystal suddenly starts radiating light, yes indeed, we've got to get the cock out of here because she's summoning Recumen, the Red Giga. She's using the power of the red moon crystals to awaken him, because, as yes indeed, the red light suddenly starts to fade away. Oh yeah, those giant sculptures, they weren't sculptures. They were, in fact, the actual Colking Giga. Alright, those giant heads we walked past, it was the buried body of the Giga, which is so damn cool that it just rises up from below the temple. That is magnificent. So, yes indeed, it's like a gigantic four-headed tortoise or something. I love it. And unfortunately, yes, one of those heads is now looking right at us. So, probably best we start cooking running because in just a flipping second, Fina falls over. Not a good time to do so, Fina, because that is like, you know, a weapon of mass destruction and whatnot. So here we flipping go. But, come on, Fina, we've got to cock it go. We're literally about to be shot by a nuke. And Aika, Fina, take cover. Fortunately for us, though that was one hell of a gigantic attack, it missed. Something struck its head. And here we flipping go. You didn't think we'd seen the last of Dragma, did you? No, no, no. He may abandon us, but he does also come back at very convenient moments. So, I just can't leave you three alone, can I? Stop gawking and get on. So Captain Dragma is back to save us. Though naturally, yes, Dragma is not willing to admit that that's what he did. Instead, he's claiming that his search for Ragnar just happened to be bringing him past this desert anyway, though I'm not sure we believe him. Instead, yeah, he most definitely saw Blizzard's flagship and decided to hang around in case we needed some assistance. Still, despite the rescue, it's most certainly not all good news, because yes indeed, Requiem is basically a metaphor for nuclear weapons. And I'm currently inside a fishing boat that's got a harpoon tied to the front, so doesn't really feel like a fair fight to be honest, but yes indeed, somehow we're gonna have to make it work. But how about we wrap things up on a cliffhanger today and pick that up next episode, where I try and figure out how precisely we're going to take down some sort of a nuclear god using only, yes, a fishing boat and a handful of rusty old cannons. So hopefully you join me next time for that. But in the meantime, I've been John, this has been Many a True Nerd, and this has been Skies of Arcadia. Thank you very much, and goodbye. If we just hide the bodies, nobody needs to know about this. Yes! My stupid plan has worked! It turns out I'm a genius! The giant rat scorpion is not gone! Oh, hang on, there's more yet though, I'm still being very shocked. Guys, where's the NCR? Nobody needs to know.